Okay, you got to check out LaTasha on Giant TV. Really hit it off with this woman, and she is incredible. Blew up on TikTok after going through her own struggles personally. She decided she needed to help others, and it's going gangbusters. You got to check it out. Best-selling author, a lot going on. Let's go jump in. Hi, everybody. Thanks for jumping on Giant TV. This is Paul Hitchcock. I'm the founder and president of Giant Jacks Media. We're helping others to grow and nurture their businesses. This is where we are here in Southern California near Disneyland, and really fired up for my guest today, LaTasha. Welcome, LaTasha.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, totally. And I gotta say, I just gotta be honest, we were talking offline and I'm just mesmerized by your story and I want to get into it. So before we get into uh some of the things you and I were just talking about exciting stuff, new developments, is first tell us what is your focus, your business focus? What are you doing?
Yeah, so um, my business is focused around mental health and helping individuals who have struggled with trauma get to healing. And so they, come on and they will talk about some of the traumas they have experienced and where they're at in life now. And basically, that talking about it is very healing for individuals, but then it also allows them to have that one-on-one with me. And then it also helps inspire others who may be going through some type of trauma or struggling in life and they don't know where to go, or hearing a story resonates with them and they're like, wow, I went through that, so I can do this.
Yeah, no, so that's great. Thanks for that. And so you mentioned in your content and just now that you've had your own struggles, which motivated you to want to help others. So that was that journey that something hit you, it dawned on you that you needed to do this. What was going on there?
Right. So prior to doing this, I used to work in law enforcement, public safety, and you would see a lot of mental health things take place in that field.
Oh yeah.
Um, and the younger generation, the suicide rate is crazy. It's just it's sad. And so as I was watching the news and doing different things, I had moved. And so I was looking for something different to do, but I still wanted to be able to give back and help. So I
Mhm.
wasn't really sure what that was. And then again, watching the news and the suicide rate and things like that, I was like, okay, someone has to try to make a change here. Like,
Yeah.
people are struggling and no one's offering a way out, or a voice. And so I decided I was going to start posting my own journey on TikTok.
Yeah, the TikTok thing is amazing. So yeah, let's go into that. So you started doing on TikTok, just start posting.
Yeah, so I never was really a social media person. I was very, very private. And so I decided one day, hey, let me see how it will work if I just use the platform of TikTok, right? And see, what happens. And so I started posting videos of like my struggles with PTSD and, how I used to not be able to go out to the grocery store, but now I can, right? And
Yeah.
how I wouldn't be able to sit in my house with the blinds open, but now I can. So different things like that, and once I started posting that, like it just within a couple days, it just blew up. And it
Yeah.
was just so overwhelming for me because I wasn't expecting that. I was very thankful for it, but I wasn't expecting it. And I wasn't sure how to process and deal with all of it at once because I had, not only my TikTok, but my Facebook just like exploded and all these messages. And then people were talking about how they wanted a place to talk, or they were, grateful for my story because it helped them, and seeing that they're not alone and that it, maybe what they're feeling is okay.
You hit a nerve.
And
You
so,
hit a nerve with what you were doing.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's very interesting how so many people are struggling, but they're afraid to speak up.
Yeah.
And it's sad. And so hearing all these messages and talking to all these people, I was just like, you know what? Come talk to me on my platform. Like that's what we'll do, right? Like if that's how I can help you, then come do it. And so people would tell their family members or their coworkers that they were going to be on the show, this TikTok show, and hey, go over here and watch it just to start the conversation, right? So they're talking
That's
to me.
awesome.
Yeah, like they're talking to me, but their family or their coworkers are hearing it and it's starting that conversation for them. And
Yep.
so, just being able to witness that and watch that unfold for them, and then the confidence they have, when I follow back up with them, and how, happier they are because the secret that they've been carrying, they no longer are carrying.
Yeah, yeah, it's such an incredible story, and I just so many things are going through my mind. But one thing for sure is you have some training there. I mean, going through it yourself, very important because you've been there and you see the other side of it, but also in your job and your career, there's a structure that you were exposed to and trained on about, dealing with trauma and so forth. I've got to believe that that has helped you tremendously when you're talking to people, because it's not just a free for all when you're talking to people. And there we are. We were talking kids. The little one just came up behind it. I love it. I love it. Because you've got three, I've got four. So this is
Yeah.
it. We're rolling with that. I'm not stopping this.
Yeah, he loves it. I'm sorry. Every time I'm doing a show, he is right here. Hi. I'm
I
like,
love it. I love it. He's gonna be your protege. He's next.
yes.
Uh that's so funny. But has it helped you, the structure that you learn in your job as you come into this?
Yes, definitely. So, I again did work in public safety, law enforcement, and my last job that I had was at a hospital, working as a public safety officer, and just interactions with just the different people, and the different mindsets and how to approach them, how to talk to them. Um, you see a lot and you learn a lot. And, I've been to CPI training, I've had RAD training, like different types of training, motivational speaking training, all of that went into my career. So
Yep.
I do know a little bit on the educational side of how to deal with them. And so I always bring into my work now, my personal and, the education side that I have, and put it together when I'm trying to help individuals.
Yeah, because people want to resonate with you. I mean, they want it to be authentic. They don't want you to be sitting on top of a mountain saying, I'm the teacher, listen to me. It's you're in the trenches with them because of your past experience, your work experience, and what you went through yourself. It just, I mean, it just goes without saying. People want authenticity. Uh, and then you had something crazy happen on TikTok. You and I were talking about it. Somebody was stealing your stuff, right? Took your idea, went on to another platform. Just
Yes.
mention that because that is
Yes.
insane.
Yes. So, once I started doing this, I was like, how can I reach more people, right? Like
Yeah,
I just had my little platform of TikTok, and, how can I reach more people? And so I reached out to a network that I had already done business with, because I did a book through them, and I became an international best-selling author with them. And so I was like, well, since I'm already done some work with them, I'll reach out to them and I will see, if they want to partner with me with doing this. And so I reached out to them and I never heard anything back, which no big deal. I get they're busy, whatever.
yep,
But a couple weeks later, I see them make a post on all of their platforms how they're coming out with this new TikTok show, identical to everything that I had, everything that I was doing. The only thing they didn't have was me and my personal story, and my genuine and authenticity and all that stuff. So it was hard, and I was very heartbroken, because I thought for sure my show was done, right? Like, here's this company with a bigger platform, no one's going to want to pay attention to me. But I realized, that was not the case. God showed
no.
me a different way. God put people in my life to help me and guide me and get me on the right network around the right people, and here I am growing. So very
Yeah, yeah,
thankful.
yeah. And what you and I were chatting about is they don't have you. They can't steal you, your personality, your background. It's amazing people do that. But uh no, and so now people that are coming on are just all walks of life that you see that people coming on everything under the sun or what
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. I always, when I first started and I got with the network, we had that conversation of, is there an age? Is there just men or women? Like, what is it that you're just going to focus on? And I'm like, no, I want to make sure I can help everyone. I don't want to be like just categorized with one group. I want to make sure those who need my help can get it. And so I have been hearing so many stories, and it's amazing. Again, it's amazing to me the people who have been through so much in their life and they just haven't talked about it out of fear, right? And so
Yeah.
being able to have that conversation with them and talk with them is just great. I mean, I have talked to people, and it's insane the stories. Like I have to do my research to make sure they're legit. Like, wait a second, let me see here, and
Like
so
what? I mean, just this the stories you can't believe that are going on in their
right.
life. Yeah.
Yes, like I had this one lady who, wanted to come on the show and I want to make sure before anyone comes on my show, I want to talk to them. I want to make sure I have that one-on-one with them and that we're, authentic with each other and it's not just like here we are a show, record, let's go, right? Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want that. I want to have that relationship there. And so I do a Zoom with them and I talk with them about, who they are, what they've been through, and I tell them about me and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I have heard so many things. Like this one lady that I spoke with, she was on her way home. She was in a car accident, rolled, was horrible car accident. Um, Died. They had to life flight her.
Oh,
She was in ICU for the longest time. And she was struggling with TBI, but they said that she wasn't going to make it. They told her family that she wasn't going to make it, but she did make it. And the one thing that she wanted to do because she had a TBI was get back to her work. Like she wanted to work and she worked on a weed farm. And I have never heard of that. I was like, a weed farm? Like weed? And she's like, yeah,
you
yeah.
haven't been to California then, because we
I
got them
know.
all over the place.
Right. And that's where she worked. And it was so like, to her, that was her comfort zone. And that's all she knew. And that's where, her body was comfortable, was right there. And it was just amazing to hear that, she was in her car dead along the road. And all she wanted to do once she got awake from the coma was go back to her comfort zone. And that's how she healed. That's how she got herself better, was just being in California around those people, and
Doing her
went on
thing.
from there. And then, I had a lady who I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago down in Texas, there was the group of people that escaped from prison and they held a couple at gunpoint in their house for a couple of days or something. I can't
Yeah.
remember the length of time, but it was all over the news. Like I briefly remember it, but that was like that was her uncle, and so she's talking about it and talking about what happened and all this stuff, and I'm like, what? This is, I mean,
Jeez.
just
Yeah.
just fun things, and then people who call and you know, my husband doesn't know that I was raped, or my kids don't know that when I was younger I was sexually molested, like things like that, and it's just talking with those individuals and hearing them open up and being able to be that safe person for them is just, it's amazing. I love it. And I love watching them heal from doing that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have the personality and the listening
Thank you.
skills. I can tell. I mean, I know we're getting to know each other, but having an outlet like that, if somebody you could talk to, listen, yeah, can you imagine holding those things inside? I mean, I guess maybe you can, you've been through it, but it's horrible. Yeah. Yeah.
And people don't realize, I mean, and I'm guilty of it myself. Like people
Yeah.
don't realize, like when you don't talk about it, then people around you can't support you, right?
No.
So then you
Yeah.
feel
Right.
alone and you don't
Right.
have that support system. And then, people who have, experienced any kind of trauma, especially at a younger age, your body is protecting you by building walls and making you respond to things, in different ways that you probably normally wouldn't respond, but you aren't realizing that because that's all you know. And
Yeah.
until you talk to someone or until you realize that yourself, you're not going to know that, oh, that's why I respond that way. Like I had no idea.
Yeah.
So it's very, yeah, it's very rewarding to help those individuals.
Oh, it's great. I noticed you got some ink there. Is there some meaning behind the ink? I love it. What is
There's,
it?
yeah. So all of my tattoos actually have a meaning, but this one, you can't really see it, but it has Remington, which is my baby that you saw, in the year that he was born. And then there's Daddy.
Butterflies. Butterflies.
Yeah, there's Daddy, and there's a big butterfly, and there's a baby butterfly. So I was never supposed to have any more children. I had a surgery, not supposed to have any more kids. My older two is 20 and 19. So I was
Oh,
not supposed to,
okay. Well, we're
yeah.
not looking at a 20 or 19-year-old there. Who's
No,
that? Who is
no,
that?
no. And so I was not supposed to have any more kids. And one day I mean, I found out I was pregnant and I was like, there's no way. Like my doctors were even like, there's no way. And so after we were out of the woods because of my surgery that I had, you know, they didn't think my ovaries would, be able to carry. But we did, and we found out my dad had brain cancer a month later. And
Oh
I
my
know we
God.
talked about this earlier, but I believe in God. Um, and so I was frustrated, I was angry, you know what I mean? I was going
Yeah.
through that moment, and hold on, baby. And my dad was very much, I'm going to make it to see my grandchild. I'm going to make it to see my grandchild. And I was very, very sick with him. I had to sign a paper at 20 weeks if they were going to save me or save my baby. And
Oh, jeez.
my baby ended up coming a month early. And when he came out, he was not responding. And so they had to take him to a different hospital where they could, monitor
Wow.
him and help him. Um, my dad was okay when I had him. I mean, they said he would pass, he wasn't going to make it till December, but he did. He made it, to see his grandbaby. But um, the day I left to go see my baby, um, my dad ended up being put in the hospital, and just went downhill. He got to go home on hospice, and he just wasn't talking. Everyone had to feed him and drink, give him his drinks and all
Yeah.
that. And so
Yeah.
I wanted him to see Remington. And so I FaceTimed him, even though all he was doing was sleeping, but he saw my baby, and
You
he
got it.
pointed at
Yeah.
him and he was like,
You
"That's
did.
my baby. That's my baby." And 3 days later he passed away.
Yeah. No. Well, listen, I mean, there's beauty in that story,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
in the face of death. Yeah. Yeah. And well, amazing. You have been through some things in your
Yeah.
life. They're
Yeah.
incredible. And a butterfly theme I notice up there on the wall is a theme there. That's I like it.
Yes, I love butterflies. I love how they start out as like that caterpillar, right? And then they grow and they get into their cocoon, and now they're this beautiful butterfly. So yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. And having the kids on, I love it. It makes me feel at home because my house is so loud and obnoxious with the four kids that it just makes me feel comfortable with the kids around. I love it. Oh,
yeah.
it's great. And I got to tell everyone listening that wherever you're watching this, because we live stream this everywhere, YouTube, LinkedIn, X, Facebook, is LaTasha's information will be around this. Links, podcast link will be there because I know you have that new show and I'm jumping into that and get connected with her. Very good person to know. And LaTasha, I know you and I are going to talk a lot more about stuff. So thank you for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate you and everything you do. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, we'll talk soon.
Yes, thank you, dear. You have a good day.
Okay.